Hi and welcome to our crafting session this evening. My name's Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, and that's in Northamptonshire in the UK. Thank you for joining me. If you're joining me live, then do say hi. Let me know that you're watching. It is Thursday the 22nd of September, which for me is a special day because it happens to be the birthday of my twins, Joe and Will, and they are obviously both 25 today. And so I've had a bit of a busy day one way or another. We didn't really get our act together. We were all doing different things and going all over the place. Both of their partners are here, so there's 5 of us, and I've been out all afternoon and got back in, and we managed to open cards and presents, and then I realised I'm going live in 3 minutes, so here I am. And I have nothing prepared at all, so which is why it's going to be a little bit chaotic, but there we go, such is life. So I am continuing to use this Birthday Piggy, and if you've been watching me yesterday and the day before, you will have seen me create these cards. So we did this one first on Tuesday, and it says, "This little piggy says happy birthday." Hopefully you can see that, and that's on a standard size card, and I've used the little one of the contour scallop dies for that panel, and just stamped and done some colouring in. And then yesterday, Wednesday morning, I created this one, and this I've done using the dies, and one of the questions I asked was whether it should or shouldn't have the little scarf, and in fact the little scarf goes perfectly with this piggy facing the other way, so I did trim this a little bit to make it fit the piggy facing to the left. But I think it came out all right in the end, and this has been die cut, and this is a die as well from the little piggy set of dies. So I was going to carry on with the dies, and one of the sets of dies has this cute little truck, like a farm truck, but I think you could also use it as a truck for presents, so for Christmas presents, for example. Hi Monica, I hope you're keeping well. Thanks so much for joining us. So we have the little truck. These, I assume, are the tyres or the wheels, and then we've got a little handle as well. So I'm going to cut the truck out in some real red, and then the tyres and this little handle probably in black, and then I'm going to work out which piggy I'm going to put in the truck, or whether I put something else. So apologies for it being slightly disorganized. That's probably the best description I can come up with. So I've got my mini die cutting machine here, so I'm just going to pop this through, and I've just got an offcut of real red, but obviously you could use any colour for the cart. So I'm just going to pop this one through like so, and it's 7 o'clock here in the evening, and it's already turning dark. Just not right, but it's been a glorious day today. I'm actually in a summer dress. I did have a cardigan on, but still a summer dress underneath. Okay, so this is what it die cuts out. Let's put it on a piece of white card so that you can see. This is very cute. So it has the embossing as well to make it look like wood. If you can see that. Probably can't see that in enough detail on your screen. So this would look nice cut in crumb cake as well, or any of the brown cards that we have. So I'm going to cut these other little pieces out with a scrap of basic black, which I have just here. Just cut a little bit of this off, like so. So I hope everybody is keeping well and has had a good day. Obviously depending on where you're watching from. So I'm just going to pop those two through. There's my base plate. And I was thinking you could actually have a couple of these, so you can have this one, cut another one out, and then just cut this end piece off and have them connected and put other things in. So we've got the pig that you could put in, but any of the other animals we've got, presents, Christmas trees, anything really I think would go in there quite with a little experimentation and a bit of fun. So I'm just going to pop those through and do that. There we go. So I've been busy sending out our class in a box boxes today. So the first batch has gone out. Okay, so those are the little tires and then the little handle. So I'm just going to attach those with a little bit of glue. I'll take my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. Let's move those out of the way. Now, I wondered if the middle of those came out. It's just I lent my pokey tool to my son. Here it is. So I don't think it does. Let's look at the die. No, it just does an indent, I think. I might be wrong, but I'm just going to pop those on, and the handle. So the easiest way is to put the glue on the larger piece rather than the smallest piece. There's that one there. And that one. So there is another pig in this sequence, so there's 3 altogether. So I've used these 2, and then there's another one that's just lying in some mud. I had a sample of that, not coloured in. Let me see if I've got it here. I can't see it. I had it to hand. Now I can't find it. I'm pretty sure it's not under there. No. Okay, right, let's pop this little handle on as well. And again, putting the glue on the piece that you're not handling. Let me just make sure that's flowing. Just a tiny little bit, like so. And if you find you tend to get sticky with glue, try and use something to push it down with rather than your fingers. and that tends to help prevent any glue going where it shouldn't. Okay, so there's our cute little truck on wheels. Okay, Facebook's just kicked me out. Hopefully we'll come back to life. Okay, so let us see what I'm going to do. So I don't think I'm going to have the pig with the cake. So maybe I'll stamp the other pig and see what that looks like. And we can die cut it and pop it in. So it's this one here. Let's just give it a go. Okay, so I've got a scrap here of white card. Let's grab a block and just stamp this like so. I'm going to use early espresso ink. Hi Fran, I hope you're well. Thank you for popping on. Was it yesterday, I think, wasn't it? I don't know where the time goes. And completely thrown, of course, because we had the bank holiday for the Queen's funeral, so that's also thrown me out. Okay, so I'm hoping that our little piggy could sit in our thing. Now I don't want to cover him up too much, so I think he will fit nicely on top of there. So let's do a quick amount of colouring in and die cut, and I think I'll leave the daisies and everything there, we'll see. So let me just grab my pens. So this stamp set that I'm using, this Birthday Piggy, is our stamp set of the week, and it's also the one that will feature at Coffee and Card tomorrow and Monday. So just going to do dark petal pink around the edges, just a small amount of shading there. What a tiny little spider walking across my table. And here. And I don't need to do too much detail for the base, because obviously it's going to be tucked in our little truck. So let's just do that and that. So that's dark petal pink. Then I like to use light Flirty Flamingo, so I'm using our blends pens. These are our alcohol markers, and just a little bit of pink for the inside of the ear. And then I take the light petal pink and go, yes, Fran, I think I was most attracted to that for the same reason. Have you worked out other things that you can put in the wagon? So I'm thinking presents, obviously. Other animals from our set. Christmas trees would be a good one. It's a shame we don't have the giraffe and everything, because you could have, we have back on your feet, I think it was called, with the giraffe with the knot in its neck. Okay, so just going over that with the light petal pink, and that will just blend in our cheek and our ear. Oh, the apples from, yes, that's a good idea. So there's our coloured in little pig. And let's just do a few flowers. I'm going to do the flowers in, this is dark sweet sorbet. Just going to do these in the red. And yellow centres. Yes, the apples from Cheerful Basket. In fact, any of those. And also, oh, gnomes, yes. Oh, thank you, Fran. Also, the ones that go with the jar punch. Desperately trying to think what it is. Okay, that's my flowers done. Just have a little bit for the leaves. This is Light Parakeet Party. Now these are quite small, so I'm not worrying about really any shading for that. Such a small area. But I will use Daffodil Delight for the inside of the daisies. Okay, so that's our piggy. Hopefully you can see that okay. Right, so I'm just going to work out how that's going to sit. Oh, that's clever. Turn the wagon around, have the moped pulling the wagon. Yes, that is clever. So like here, and turned it round that way. Yes, that's very clever. Hi Moretta, good evening to you. So I think what I'm going to do, I also want to make it look like straw. So let me see what I've got that I could use. I've got some So Saffron. I don't want it to look like it's going to market though. And I'm thinking if you had some strips of paper, you know, like we had shredded paper, that would be a bit of fun, wouldn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to extend this below that image, like so. Hi Carol, thanks for joining us again. Okay, so I'm going to extend that even further. And in fact, I want to die cut it, but I almost don't want to die cut the bit at the bottom. So, okay, let's see what we can do. Let's have a look at the die cut, see what it does. Get it the right way round. It would be good. Okay, so this is going to cut this off. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want the bottom of this to be cut because I want it to be part of this whole picture. So what I'm going to try and do is put it in my die cutter machine and stop it before it gets to this bit at the bottom, so the top edge is cut out but the bottom is left, if that makes any sense. So I'm just going to trim this either side. And grab my plates. And there's different ways that you can do this. As my little wagon. So that one and that one. Okay, now what I want to do is, so what I think I'm going to do is just put a bit of tape on here to hold it in place, because I don't want it all to go moving around. bit of washi tape up here. Not ideal, but it will do. Okay, so I'm going to fix this down first because I don't want this to move. Okay, and now I'm going to place this on here and again add a little bit of tape. We've got some lovely new washi tapes in some really nice autumn and Christmas colours. Okay, so I'm going to put this one here and this one here, like so. And then I would have been better moving it further down or further up, but hey ho. What I'm going to do is place this plate on, but have the end of the plate finishing before the bottom of the die cut. So theoretically it will die cut this top element here, but not this bit at the bottom because I don't want it to cut through. So I'm actually going to reverse it round and start this one here. Hope you can see that. Okay, right, let's move and make a little bit of space here. I definitely think a couple of these trucks would look fab. Okay, so I'm just going to slide this along, and I appreciate you can't see necessarily all of what's occurring here. Just want to move this far enough along. What have I done? So I haven't got enough pushing power. Sort of done it a bit back to front. I need to move it onto my stool, sorry. It's because okay, plan B, start it the other way around. So because it can't get enough of a purchase on that bit, so I'm going to start it this way round and see if that works. But I need to have it on a flat surface, not on a moving surface. Okay. That's better. Okay. Let's see if that has worked. Sorry about that. I wanted to show you, but it's too slippery on here. So with any luck, if I lift this off, tear that bit off anyway, I will have the top bit die cut, which I do, and the bottom bit left attached. Whereas if I die cut the whole thing, this bottom bit would have been cut off. Okay. Right, so now I can just trim that little bit. Scissors and pop it into the wagon. Like so. Like that. go. So I know I need to trim this a little bit more, but I can now position my wagon and then trim off the excess, like so. So all I've got to decide is how much of my piggery is going to be sat in there. I think about that much, like that. So just going to mark that with a pencil. Trim that little edge down. And just a tiny bit of this edge. There we go. Now theoretically, if this was carrying hay or something, it wouldn't be sticking out around these edges, would it? So just going to mark where the edge of that is. There we are. I did say this was going to be slightly chaotic and experimental. Right, there we go. So now the hay is contained in there, and we've got our little piggy. I know he's facing the wrong way, or she is. She likes travelling backwards, who knows. Okay, so now all I need to do is work out how that's going to go onto my card. Now I wonder if I've got anything that could be pulling that faces that direction. So we do have the Santa Express Christmas stamp set that has a train, but I expect this will be the wrong size. I don't know because I haven't used it yet. It's next on my list to try. So let's grab a piece of card and look at how our card base is going to look. So I'll just cut this down to start with. Okay, so I don't know what I'm going to have behind it, whether I'll make this into a scene or whether I will have some patterned paper behind. Let's assume for the minute we'll make it into a scene. Then this is 9.5 by 13.85 to give me enough space for a layer behind and then a white card behind that. Okay, I've missed a coloured trotter there. Let's just make that a little bit crumb cake. Hi Monica. Oh, pull the handle on. Oh, that was clever. And put it on the other side. Now, why didn't I think of that? That is so clever. Hi Brenda. Thank you, Fran. Oh, I never thought of that. I would have turned it over. So Fran's quite right. You can cut this off and reseat it the other side so that, for example, your moped could be towing the pig, like so. And that one in front, that's so clever. And also, should we be facing the right way as well? So I'm just going to see what else I could use that could be pulling that along. So I need to find my glasses so I can look at my stamp set. There they are. I told you it was going to be chaotic, didn't I? So puffin. The puffin's bigger than the piggy. Ladybird is not the right size either. I've got a deer. That's too small. I must have something else. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So there's a koala bear by my side. You're right. Inspired. Funnily enough, this arrived literally just yesterday, and there's the little boy, if you can see that, with his hand behind. Let's have a look and see. I know he's got the dog attached. Might do. Let's stamp him and see. I'm going to stamp him without the dog. I'm going to cut the sausage dog off. Sorry, sausage dog. There we go. And let's see. Great idea. Okay. So his hand is to the left, isn't it? Let's just try it and see. I hope you're well, Monica. Okay, so I've not stamped with this one before. So I'm just going to try it out on here. So what I might need to do is cut the handle off and reposition it. Hi Sandra. Okay. And I'm just going to give myself a little bit of height as well. There we go. So I'm going to cut this off and then reseat it. Fran, you're so clever. So clever, because I can have this then wherever I want it to be. And he's taking his piggy with him. Cute. Okay, so let's colour him in. Let's give him some blonde hair. And that is dark, so saffron. And I'm just going to have a light pink, petal pink face, but I'm going to do the same as I've done with the pig, which is give him some rosy cheeks with light flirty flamingo. And then use a light petal pink over the top. I hope you managed to get everything sorted, Sandra. There we go. So I'm just doing that really quickly. There we go. And let's just have some arms and legs. I think he needs some shoes on though. So we've got coffee and card on tomorrow, Sandra, if you're able to get down and you feel like it. If you want picking up, I'll happily collect you en route. Just let me know. I think we need some little blue trousers. Well, they're shorts, aren't they? Really? There we go. And let's go for Parakeet Party for his t-shirt. Lovely green. There we go. Hi Kate. Thanks for joining us. So there's our little young chap. I'm going to ground him with a bit of ground in a minute, but serve its purpose for now. Okay, let's use a bit of light crumb cake. Oh, so I'll tell you what I haven't used, and that's the grass dye. It's a fabulous bit of grass, but let's just see how we get on here. So what I'm going to do is pop my pig in his or her little truck. So I'm just going to put some glue on the reverse of this piece and then place it down onto my cut piggy. So if you weren't watching earlier, I've used the die to cut the top of the pig but not the bottom, because I wanted it to look like she was sitting in some straw. I think that will do. Like so. So I'm going to do some background on this as well. And I'm going to find my little handle. So it's going to go like that. So what I'm going to do now, if I could raise it up a little bit. Yes, that would work, because I want him to be on a similar sort of height. Okay, so I'm just going to use some blending brushes just to create a really quick background on here, a little bit of sky and everything. Let me grab that. So I'm hoping everybody will have fun with this tomorrow at Coffee and Card and on Monday. So I'm actually going to do some brown across the bottom, I think. So I've got espresso just to hand, just use a little bit of that. And you could, if you wanted, just tear a bit of paper to get a little bit of an edge. Normally I would use grid paper, but this piece that I stamped my little boy on is handy. So I'll just use that. I just want to get really a level bit of ground. So just going to do that really quickly, like so. Yeah. Okay, so there's our young man on the ground. Let's add some blue sky. So this is my blue blending brush, and I don't separate out one brush from another. I just have a generic blue one, a green one, brown one. I have two of the main colours for Coffee and Card, so we've got more than one option. Oops. Looking for my balmy blue ink. Sorry, it was all packed for Coffee and Card, so I must remember to repack it for Coffee and Card. Otherwise we'll be disappointed tomorrow. So just going to bring this in. I could add a lot more detail, but for our purposes we're just going to have a little scene. Thanks to Fran for the idea of the little boy. But I do think I'm going to have a think about what other things I can put in the basket. So the suggestions were any of the items from Cheerful Basket. If you've got jar of flowers as well, that would work. Bottles. That would be quite good fun if you've got any of the ones with the whiskey bottle or anything like that. You can have the camping stuff as well, all sorts of combinations. Okay, that will do. I'm not worrying too much about the rest of the scene, but I just want our little chap there. And so what I'm going to do is I sort of want to lift him up on dimensionals, and I don't. That's very clever, isn't it? Right, what I want to do is just work out this positioning here. So I'm just going to stick that fairly straight on there. And obviously you could add a lot more detail than I've done. You could add a sun and things in the corner, you could add trees. So just pop that in his hand. Like so. And I just want to make sure it connects to our truck. I think that would work like that. Now I've got a little bit of glue on here, so I just want to take that out. My first aid kit for cards and humans, so it includes plasters, and just going to use my adhesive remover because I've got a little bit of glue there that was on the back of the truck when I placed it down. There we go. That's better. So I'm going to pop this down flat, like so. Oh yes, that would be really good. So Fran's suggestion, North Pole Mischief, that's another stamp set, has a dog and a gift wrapped cat. And talking of cats, a little kitten has arrived. Has got something to say. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this on here. Like so. There we are. So I can add some more detail to the scenery, but I'm happy with it as it is. I can see a tiny little bit of glue left, so let's get rid of that. There we go. Now I just need to think of a fun sentiment, really. I could use enjoy the ride. That would be good fun. I'm going to add a little bit more blue sky. So I'm going to oh, thank you, Fran. I'm going to look at some other stamps to see what else I could have in my little wagon. It's very cute. So the dies for this are only available until the end of September, assuming the stocks last till then. So if you like the little wagon, as you say, I think Fran said she bought it just for the wagon alone, even if you didn't have the piggy dies, the piggy stamps. There we go. Sweet. So I think to finish that off, I'm going to layer that onto, oops, sorry, a piece of real red and then white, or I could use Orchid Oasis for his trousers. Make sure I don't run over the kitten. Let's have a look and see what looks best. So there's the real red. I should have given him red trousers, I think. Shouldn't I? Never mind. Okay. Okay, I've got a white card base. So that is the red. I think I'm going to go with that. Oh, bless you, Fran. Yes. Quite a lot of people like pigs, don't they? Okay, so this is going to measure 10 centimetres by 14.35, and that will give me a ½ centimetre border across the whole card, so 2.5 millimeters, which I know is not very much, around the edge here, like so, and onto there. And I'm just going to deliberate about sentiments. So it's your birthday, enjoy the ride. This little piggy says happy birthday. That would also work, wouldn't it? So just going to lay that onto some real red. And onto there. And I do also like there's some more dies in this set that have we have this little banner as well as the neckerchief scarf, and then you've got grass and loads of flowers. So I might nip on tomorrow. I know I'm not normally live on a Friday, but I might nip on tomorrow and do something with those. There we go. Hope you could see that okay. If I just lift that up a little bit. So I'm just thinking on my sentiments. So I think I'm going to do a happy birthday, enjoy the ride. Definitely, it's my finishing touch. But I'm going to leave it while I just deliberate in case I find another sentiment. I could also do this little piggy says happy birthday. So there we are. That's the third card in our series using this birthday piggy and the coordinating dies. So we'll be using this design for coffee and card, but you'll be able to use any of the piggy images in this piece here onto a note card. So this is a sample here that I did the other day, ready for coffee and card. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry I've gone on a little bit more than I would normally. Far too long, I think, is the answer. But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your input. I'm really pleased with our finished little card. It's very cute, and I hope you like it too. If you need any help ordering products, or you're interested in joining our team of creative gems, then don't hesitate to message me, and I'll be more than happy to help you and answer any questions you may have. In the meantime, have a good morning, afternoon or evening, depending on when and where you're watching. Oh, life is better with friends like you. Yes. And there's also that one in life is better with a friend like you in peaceful moments. That would also work, wouldn't it? So yeah, thank you for that. So thanks everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I really appreciate your company. Keep crafting. Look forward to crafting with you again real soon. Bye for now.